Oh, it's a perfect Friday. We woke up a little tinge of the cold. I don't wish away the summer, but the summer's pretty much gone. That little tinge this morning. We know we got a weekend full of football. The Browns on Monday night in Pittsburgh. It's about perfect. And as we get ready for the Browns and the Steelers come Monday night, a lot of questions surrounding this game. A long streak for Pittsburgh on Monday Night Football. They lost 20 games in a row at home. Will that come to an end Monday? There's some big questions on that offensive line. That's a bad pun because one of those guys is DeJuan Jones, and he's very big. We got Ohio State. We got our picks. We got Time Hop. We got it all on a Football Friday edition of the Matt Fontana Show. Welcome in, everybody. I am Matt Fontana. He is producer Ryan. Happy Friday to everybody out there. Kicking it off. It is a beautiful day. I make no bones about it. Fall is the best time of the year. I enjoy the summer. Really, Ryan, it's a peak for me coming to the fall because the winter, it is what it is, especially Northeast Ohio. We roll the dice. Sometimes it's awful, but then the spring gets a little bit better. The summer is great, and then there's nothing like fall right here on the North Coast here in Cleveland. It's a beautiful day. We're ready to go. We're locked and loaded for this weekend. We got our Ohio State plays coming up. Unfortunately, I know a lot of people jumped, and we're excited about Ted Ginn. He's going to join us on Monday. Ted's got some bigger things. He's down in Florida with his dad's team, Glenville, taking on IMG tonight. So he's down in Florida. So we'll talk to Ted on Monday. He's going to bring us home a win, and got a lot to get to with him coming up, ready to go for Monday night. So we'll get to that coming up. We got some big news in the network world as we talk about all these shifts that are happening with watching TV, and there's a big one potentially. Kirk Cousins, man. You won, Ryan, on your Tipico there on our little parlay. Tipico used the code BigPlay150
Not only that, Matt, but what I said was going to happen happened exactly. I said Kirk Cousins is going to ball out in the stat line, and he's going to make the game close because he always does in prime time, but he's never going to get it done. And
was
that's
it
exactly
four
what happened.
Four fumbles
Yeah.
for the Vikings. And here I am on Twitter talking crap to Dave and Nick about the over and the under. Under lock. Come on now. What are we doing? I have a lot. I always take the under on Thursday night. I always think fluky things happen, and Kirk Cousins is choked it away. Nonetheless, we'll rebound with our picks coming up this morning with Tipico. We'll get to the morning update and, of course, Time Hop. And really excited to be with you this morning here on a Friday. We get ready for Monday, and obviously everything shifted back a little bit for the Browns as they have the extra day of practice. They'll leave for Pittsburgh on Sunday. You know they still bus to Pittsburgh, Ryan, because the airport is so far away from Pittsburgh, it actually makes more sense for them to bus than to get on the plane and then have to drive into Pittsburgh. That's crazy. So they'll be on the bus leaving Sunday to get there and get ready to go for Monday night. And that excitement, while it's been there, I got to tell you, it's building because it goes back to there's something about primetime when you're the only game. We don't get the Mannings this week, which is a little sad. What do you think of the Manning cast? Overrated.
I like it. Honestly, I like it a lot. I think it's very different. It's kind of refreshing to me. There's times where I think they're a bit much, but I'm actually a big fan of it.
They need, as long as the guests are good, I think it kind of works. But there's something about Monday Night Football, Joe Buck, Troy Aikman. You are the only game, and then you come back to a game on Monday that it's Browns Steelers. You could be a Philadelphia Eagles fan. You be a San Francisco 49ers fan. It doesn't matter. That is a game that you tune in to watch because you know of the rivalry. And the Browns are one of these up-and-coming teams. I think that's the other thing that I'm excited for Monday is kind of the reintroduction of this Browns team to a lot of the nation. And Browns fans, we're a prideful bunch. I understand that. And people get pissed off from time to time about what the national media says or what other people say. And you take it to heart. Sometimes we shouldn't, and I'm sorry, we love our team. We can't apologize for that. But this is also, for a lot of people, this is the new Browns team. And the Deshaun Watson factor, people did see him a little bit last year. This, I really think, on a national stage is going to be his coming out party. They will mention on Monday. It is almost impossible for them not to mention the suspension and mention some of the things that he had to go through off the field. We're through that. And here in Cleveland, we've worked a little bit. We just had more opportunity to get through that because we're here, we're in town. But for a lot of people, when they see us on Monday Night Football, that's kind of what it's going to go back to. And then you talk about the team. The Browns are, for a lot of people, the ultimate, well, they could be really good, or they might be really good, and they know Nick Chubb, and they know Myles Garrett, but Monday is a real opportunity for this team to show everybody who they are and what they expect to be this year. Again, I'm not asking for bouquets and roses from national people or national fans, but there's that's like one of the things I'm most excited for, Ryan, is Monday night. We're the only game in town. Everybody's going to be watching, and I expect the Browns to play very well.
Yeah, all eyes on Cleveland. And I don't know if you saw, Matt, but did you see that Stephen A. had the Browns in his top 5? That was awesome.
He did, and that's, people want to read into that, I guess, kind of, I don't want to say how you want to, because it's, like, again, it's one of those, and I like Stephen A. Smith, I do, but, like, people read into that, and some don't like that. Because, like, oh, no, we want to sneak up on people, or we don't want to be that team that everybody looks at. And granted, we were 4. It's not like we were 1. But it is something where, as we turn it, as we start to become that team that people do talk about, you're going to have to deal with that. And I think Monday Night Football against the Steelers, great opportunity to go out and play. But let's go to the other side, as I mentioned. The Steelers have not lost 20 straight home Monday Night Football games. 20 straight. And as quickly as I am to sometimes dismiss history or dismiss stats and trends, a lot of that comes back to their bad ones for us. We hadn't beaten them here and this, but it's a different team. And there's always that balance of the guys in that locker room. Do they actually know about that? Has it been brought up? Yes, the media will do that. They'll ask questions. Hey, man, did you know about this record here? Does it really have a bearing? No, but it's also, I'm not going to dismiss it. Whether or not the team does, that's up to them. But I'm not going to dismiss that and understand that I expect Monday to be a very tough game. We'll make our selections on Monday as we get ready to go. But I'm not somebody that's going to walk in here and say we're just going to trounce the Steelers. We might. Now, we might, and I hope we do. But I'm not going to enter the game with... It's not false bravado. It's not false belief because, frankly, we are the better football team. Doesn't that feel nice to say? We are a better football team than the Pittsburgh Steelers. We have a better quarterback. Like, just go, if you go up and down the list, okay? Yeah, you want to compare TJ Watt to Myles Garrett? I'll wash that. I'll say that is a wash. But for the first time in a long time, I don't think there is any debate that the Cleveland Browns are a better football team than the Pittsburgh Steelers. We got Cincinnati last weekend. Are they still a better football? Yeah, maybe. Baltimore, I can't wait to see them in a couple of weeks. I'm not rushing things. Baltimore might seem a little fake to me. I don't know why, but we'll deal with that in a couple of weeks. The Steelers, though, and it's on paper, and you don't want paper champions and all that. I get it. The Browns are a better football team, and they should be able to find a way to impose that onto the Pittsburgh Steelers come Monday night. Now, we're better in a lot of areas, but there is one area that's getting a lot of attention, as it should, and that is DeJuan Jones. Rookie, first career start, second career game, that's TJ Watt. That guy, he gets after the quarterback a little bit.
Talk about getting thrown into the fire.
And there's an element, Ryan, that I'm excited to see it. And we're going to talk a lot about DeJuan Jones this morning. We'll hear from Kevin Stefanski and Deshaun Watson coming up, because that is something that, as we look at this game, of all the areas, that is where my mind continues to go. And I think a lot of Browns fans are there too. And it's just it's a curiosity to me. It's what do you have? And you're right. You're not going to find a much tougher challenge, except maybe in practice, which I think is a big part of it. And I can only assume and hope that Myles Garrett spent a little time going up against DeJuan Jones this week to say this is what you're going to face. We talk about that a lot with Jed Wills about, well, I was going to turn that into a shot at Jed Wills, but we'll see. Pivotal game for him as well. But you talked about the development of Jed Wills and how much it helps to go up against Myles Garrett in practice every single day. I could say the same thing about DeJuan Jones. And I imagine that did happen and that you're having Myles help him out. And then the structure behind DeJuan Jones with Bill Callahan and the rest of the offense. And they're not going to leave him out on an island. Now, there's going to be some place that DeJuan Jones Sorry, man. You are one-on-one with TJ Watt, and we need you to win that rep. Other times, you're going to have the tight end. You're going to have a back. You're going to run away from TJ Watt. And that's something that as they game plan and think about it, how much is that? It's a rhetorical question because Kevin Stefanski would never give it up even if he was asked. How much does DeJuan Jones change the offense? And he did give a little tip on that. We'll hear from Kevin coming up in a minute. But how much does that actually change when you factor in when you sit down and game plan? How much do you look at it to say, here's a generational pass rusher, here's a guy making his second game first career start? What does that impact? Then the flip side, what does that do to the Steelers defense as they start getting ready for this game? It's big. It's big. I'm not downplaying it. And it's more of an excitement to see what he has. But I want to post this on Twitter, at Matt Fontana Show. I'm very interested to see where people are at. And Ryan, I'll leave it up to you as the owner of the Twitter this morning. And always, to be honest with you. It's more, who are you more interested in watching Monday night? Deshaun Watson or DeJuan Jones? Because both have a lot to prove Monday. Watson had an okay game. We know Sunday, the weather, all that kind of stuff. He's discussed. He's, excited to be able to show a little bit and kind of turn some things around. And they kind of go hand in hand where if through 2 drives, DeJuan Jones is just getting his lunch handed to him and he's just getting smoked. Well, that's going to change a lot of things. And we've seen what quarterbacks look like in this town when they don't have confidence in their offensive line. We know what that's like. And it's a scary thought. It truly is. And that is going to be the importance, I think, of the scripting of the plays for most people that if you know or don't, that most coaches start with a script of 15 to 20 plays, and they don't deviate from that. And usually what that is, we want to show them this look to see what they do, so now we can counter off that later. It's a giant chess game. And starting out, I would imagine Kevin Stefanski wants to get a little bite on what it looks like with DeJuan Jones against TJ Watt and what they look like with different formations. But we know they're also going to want to come out and get in Watson's head and make him think about that. And then he starts releasing the ball a little bit quicker. And we hope DeJuan can show up. This all comes from a place of positivity. This all comes from a place of confidence that I hope DeJuan Jones can get it done. But that's going to be our Twitter question this morning, at Matt Fontana Show. You can always tweet back at us as well. Let us know what you think. Who are you more interested in watching Monday night? Deshaun Watson or DeJuan Jones? And I think even on that, it's kind of a crazy question. We're talking about a quarterback versus a right tackle, right? And there's progress to be had on that to say that's what we're debating here. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, man, we have some rookie quarterback going in there and it's going to be an uphill battle the whole way. Like, the Browns are at a place where you are super confident, at least I am, in a lot of areas of the game, but this is a big one. I feel like the Browns can win a lot of matchups. And there's another matchup, because we'll get to that coming up at about 9:30, the biggest keys for this game as well. And there's some to be had about what the Steelers' offense might look like too. But for when the Browns' offense is on the field, I feel like a lot of eyes are going to be on DeJuan Jones. And that'll be our Twitter question this morning. Jump on Twitter, at Matt Fontana Show. We're live on YouTube. We're up on the iHeart app as well. Vote on that, and we'll hear from Kevin Stefanski and Deshaun Watson about DeJuan Jones going into this game. Again, reminder this morning, we're going to have Ted Ginn join us coming up on Monday. He had to push back. He is down in Florida. One other thing that I did want to mention, because we have something really cool going for Monday, and I'm going to make sure to say this as much as I can. We are giving away, our friends at Tipico and us here at Big Play are giving away 10 tickets to watch the Browns and Steelers with us right here at our Big Play setup. I don't want to mess with your cameras, Ryan, but if I could just turn this camera around, you'll see our setup out here. It, like, no joke, man, it looks like a sports book. Does it not?
It really does.
There's a lot of, like, just comfortable chairs, a bunch of TVs. Tipico is here. You got your sports book on your phone. Download the Tipico app. Use Big Play 150. You can sit out here with us. So here's what you got to do. Go to Big Play on Twitter, and I retweeted this at Matt Fontana 83. You have to repost the post that we had, follow Tipico, and reply with a bet slip that you placed. It doesn't have to even, it can be Ohio State tomorrow. Lock, by the way. Lock. We'll get to that later. All you got to do, repost it, follow Tipico, and post your bet slip on the Twitter at Big Play on Twitter, and you could be entered a chance to win 10 tickets to come down here, watch the game with Josh. We have food, we have autographs. Like, I don't know, as a Browns fan, how cool would that be to sit there and say you're going to watch Monday Night Football with Josh Cribbs?
We're going to go watch the Browns kill the Steelers with the Steeler killer himself, Josh Cribbs.
There it is. So check it out at Big Play right there on Twitter. Check it out, repost it, and then you can follow Tipico and reply with your Tipico bet slip, and you'll be able to watch the game right here with us Monday. 10 tickets only, though. That's it. So once they're gone, they're gone. Twitter question is up at Matt Fontana Show. Who are you more interested to watch Monday night, DeJuan Jones or Deshaun Watson? We'll hear from Watson. We'll hear from Stefanski. We're just kicking things off on a beautiful Friday edition of the Matt Fontana Show right here on Big Play. Back here on the Matt Fontana Show, DeJuan Jones, Deshaun Watson. Who you're more interested in seeing coming up Monday night? That's our Twitter question this morning. Welcome back, Matt Fontana Show on Twitter. I already had people in the break asking. If you want to enter the Josh Cribbs thing, again, go to Big Play on Twitter, retweet it, follow Tipico, and reply with one of your bet slips. You can be entered to win one of 10 tickets to come down here Monday to watch the game with Josh Cribbs. I'm putting this out here, and I don't know if I should do this because the higher ups, do they get a +1 for that, right? I don't know. I can't say. I have no idea. I'll find out. I will find that out because it'd be nice if it could be a +1. I don't know. 10 tickets. Go to Big Play on Twitter. Retweet it for a chance to watch Monday Night Football right here at our Tipico setup down here at Big Play with Josh Cribbs. So that's on Twitter. Early results on our question, because going into Monday night, the DeJuan Jones story has been the biggest one of the week. And there's growth for the Browns to be able to say, like, yes, that's It's important. I'm not downplaying at all the importance of that. It's big, and it is something that it could impact. It's going to impact the game. I'm trying to talk myself off that ledge. I really am. TJ Watt can ruin this game. He could absolutely wreck this game. But there's also this DeJuan Jones, and really, let's talk about his ascension real quick. Comes out of Ohio State, 4th-round draft pick. And the biggest thing that everybody said when we first saw him back at rookie minicamp is, oh my gosh, this guy's massive. And there was always this belief that if you gave him Bill Callahan, which you did, and you gave him somebody like DeJuan Jones, where you can't teach that size, and you just said mold him and turn this guy into something, there was excitement around that for a lot of reasons. And I look at some of the tackles across the league, and even watching last night, Jordan Mailata, he's 6'8", 300 whatever odd some pounds, former rugby player, and boy, man, did the Eagles just smoke that Vikings D line rushing for what did should have picked up DeAndre Swift. What do you have, like 180 odd some yards or something like that?
It was almost 180.
Dude, it's bad. And there's something to be said. Yeah, you need technique and you need to have a good scheme. But there's somebody like DeJuan Jones where just give him this coach and Bill Callahan, he'll kind of get it figured out. Now, a lot of us had hoped that he would have the year to sit and learn and, well, welcome to the NFL. And you're in there, man. You are. And he's going to learn to the nth degree on Monday night what it's like to face a premier pass rusher in a primetime type game. And there's two ways that this is going to factor out. And this is kind of where I'm tipping my hand on where I'm going to vote on our Twitter question this morning of who are you more interested in watching on Monday night, Deshaun Watson or DeJuan Jones? You're going to come out of that game, no matter what, he's going to learn. DeJuan Jones is going to pick something up on Monday on what it's like to be a starting right tackle in the NFL, for good or for bad. And it's almost that next step of what do you do with that information? We say this a lot with rookie quarterbacks and almost any rookie. It's the development that you have. A lot of people will tell you that one of the biggest things for any NFL player is not their rookie year. It's year 1 to year 2, where you can almost wish away, because Lord knows we've seen some examples here in Cleveland of rookies that, you want to wash away the first year. But it's that development going into year 2 that is so very important. Well, now, DeJuan Jones, you are going to get that development, and you are going to get an answer. And there are bigger questions to be had, and there's bigger discussions to be had about the state of the Browns' offensive line, where the dream that you, me, Ryan, everybody has, that you snuck this guy in the 4th round, and he becomes a starting right tackle, potential all-pro for years to come. That doesn't happen all that often. The other side, he doesn't work out. And you wasted a 4th-round pick, that's fine. But there's that glimmer and that hope that he really is it. And I'm not going to put it all on Monday. And I'm going to tell myself that right now. I'm going to tell everybody out there right now, don't watch Monday and then all of a sudden make your decision on DeJuan Jones. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. But Monday's that kickoff part of it. And that's why, in my opinion, to our Twitter question this morning at Matt Fontana Show, who are you more interested in watching Monday night, Deshaun Watson or DeJuan Jones? It's DeJuan Jones. It is. I have a belief that Deshaun Watson will return to form. That's another whole thing that we've talked about. What level can he get to? I personally believe that you just need a top 10 to 12 quarterback in Deshaun Watson. Oh, by the way, coming up, we'll get to Nick Shook. Nick Shook, who joins Chico every Tuesday, by the way, for the Bold, Bald Browns breakdown.
It's such a tongue. The
Nick
bald,
joins Chico. They're both bald.
Breakdown.
They both talk football on Tuesdays. I thought they'd sneak in beautiful. Tell them to rename it. Should be the Bold, Bald, Beautiful Browns breakdown with Chico and Shook on Tuesdays. I know we have a lot of imaging done for that, but we'll get. I need a T-shirt. I'd wear a T-shirt with Shook and Chico on it. The Bold, Beautiful Browns. The Bald, Beautiful Browns breakdown. There you go. Get it done. Anyway, Nick joins every Tuesday. We'll get to his quarterback rankings a little bit later. I just need a top 10 to 12 Deshaun Watson, and I think the Browns can go places. I do. And there's more to be shown that Deshaun Watson can do that. DeJuan Jones just hasn't had the opportunity to show that. And there are people already in the Twitter inbox, which I appreciate, that say you're insane. It's a right tackle versus a quarterback. I get it. It's quarterback. It's the most important thing. There's a world that DeJuan Jones, TJ Watt eats him up all day, and you still win the game because Deshaun Watson escapes his legs. He's able to make plays. Totally understand that. There's some intrigue there with DeJuan Jones. There's some real intrigue, and I want to see it. And it's coming from a positive place. Then it comes to a bigger picture kind of conversation about what that could mean if he is it. And it's 9:25 in the morning on Friday, a beautiful September 15th. Happy payday to everybody. It's always a fun day on a Friday. There's plenty of time for DeJuan, but I think about the future and what it could be, what it means for this offensive line. Folks, this offensive line is going to be changing. It's going to be changing. Wyatt Teller playing his ass off right now, destroying guys right now. Joel Bitonio, all-pro. Ethan Posick doing fine. He has question on Jed Wills. There's already discussion if you could flip over DeJuan Jones and all that. And there's a world that Jack Conklin returns next year. He's not retired. I've had people ask me that about Conklin. He's not retired. He's got too much money. Throw him on the pup list, see what he comes out. But what it could mean for DeJuan Jones. And we get our first little taste of that coming up on Monday. I want to hear from Deshaun Watson because obviously Watson, the excitement with this has also got to be a little nerve-wracking for him. I'd be nervous playing the Steelers defense as is. TJ Watt, we don't talk enough about Alex Highsmith, who gets after the quarterback very well. I mean, when you think of the Steelers, what do you think of? Usually defense. Steel curtain, right? That's what they are. Not quite the same, but they still have TJ Watt. He's very good. So as a quarterback, I'd be nervous about that. But Deshaun Watson had a couple of things to say about it. Number one, he was asked about the confidence that he has in DeJuan Jones going into this game. Here's Deshaun Watson, sound courtesy of the Browns from practice yesterday. Watson on his confidence with DeJuan Jones.
Confidence. He likes the challenge. He likes to be able to go out there and just play football and do whatever he can for this team. And, he's been learning from all the guys across the line, asking questions. I see him on the side talking to Joel, talking to Wyatt, talking to Jed, and all these guys. And, Bill Callahan, he's going to make sure that he's ready and prepared to go. So it's a great task for him, and I'm excited for his opportunity.
It starts there. That showing Deshaun Watson that, I think, is huge. The fact that he sees him over there talking to some other guys, and I get it could mean nothing, but at least saying, I'm going to do everything that I can. And it seems like, oh, yeah, of course he would. Well, sometimes not that easy. I think that base is something to start with, to just show Deshaun Watson, because there's an element, you got to prove it, but the belief has to be there. And it's as simple as, if it is in Deshaun Watson's head, which I'm sure it's very hard for it not to be, but if it's in his head, he's going to be getting rid of the football. He's going to roll left. And then all of a sudden your offense gets completely screwed up. That's something to be had as well. Then I thought this was a funny question to Watson. How are you going to throw beyond DeJuan Jones? He's 6'8". Not easy to do. Here's Deshaun Watson asked if it's going to be hard to see or throw over top of DeJuan Jones.
I'm gonna have to definitely, move in the pocket a little bit to create some windows for myself.
He's gonna, and then the good thing is, I think we know Watson can do that. If he's got to move a little bit, he can, and just kind of get out a little bit. Final one, Kevin Stefanski, Browns head coach. He was asked about DeJuan Jones going into this big matchup, and this is coach speak. But I liked hearing it still from Kevin Stefanski, courtesy of the Browns. Here's Coach Stefanski talking about DeJuan Jones.
I think it's important for all of our players to narrow your focus going into, Monday Night Football, like you mentioned. I think you really have to focus on your job and doing your job. DeJuan's played at a high level in big games where he went to college. You're going to play in some big games, so he understands that. But you can't and he can't make this about just him. It's really about our offense versus their defense in that regard.
Coach speak, but true. You're not alone, man. You're going to have Wyatt Teller over there. We're going to get you some backs. We're going to get you some tight ends. Yeah, there's going to be a time that it's going to be one-on-one. And those will probably be the plays that Bill Callahan wants to see the most. And they'll the ones that in the film review, they'll sit down and they'll probably be able to take away the most when it is one-on-one. And those will come. Those will. But it's not by himself. Then the other part of it, I appreciate this as well. just run the ball. Like at a 6'8", 360 odd some pounds, just run. Just run behind. Like if all hell breaks loose and it all goes bad, just run the football to that side. And TJ Watt is stout against the run, but just put this massive behemoth of a man over there and just let him road grade. And which is really what the right tackle is kind of supposed to do. So get after it. I'm saying DeJuan Jones in our Twitter question this morning at Matt Fontana Show. Who are you more interested in seeing Monday night? Deshaun Watson or DeJuan Jones? I'm very clearly going with Ohio State offensive tackle. Ryan, cast your vote. Jones, Watson.
It's weird because obviously it's like you said, a quarterback versus a guy on the line. So it obviously I feel like I'm going to watch Deshaun more closely, but at the same time, it is super interesting to watch this rookie come in and then make his debut against not even arguably, a definite top 3 pass rusher. Mm-hmm. Arguably top 2. So it's gonna be fun to watch, and I hope it works out. But even if it doesn't, like you said, no need to hit the panic. But it'll be fun to watch.
I want, instead of the Manning cast, I want the DeJuan cast. I want a video of just DeJuan Jones. I'll watch the game on a main screen, and then I just want somehow just a camera on DeJuan Jones the entire time because I want to watch it. I'm so excited to see. You mentioned top 3 best pass rushers in the NFL. Bosa, Nick Bosa, Miles, Micah Parsons, TJ Watt. Give me your order.
Ooh, okay. So
give me your order.
Okay. So we're counting Micah as
a pass rusher, a linebacker, not necessarily a DN. And am I forgetting anybody? Like I'm not going to put Joey Bosa in there. Sorry.
No, it's definitely Garrett TJ. Not saying this is the order, but it's definitely they're in a league of their own. Garrett.
I'm with you. I think there is a tier that is not a. Well, I'll just say what I was going to say. I think it's a big gap. Like, I really do. I think there's a big gap. And if I'm missing somebody, grab us in the Twitter inbox, let us know. But really, I think it's Nick Bosa, Myles Garrett, TJ Watt, and Micah Parsons.
I agree.
It's those 4 and then a drop-off. And, yeah, Joey Bosa could be there. I don't know if Aiden Hutchinson will get there. Travon Walker, all these other guys, but I think it is that 4. So then I got to ask you, Ryan, then give me your 4 in order.
Gosh, I'm going to get... This is so
That's fine. We all love Miles. I'll tell you this.
Right,
Miles is not my number. It's Nick Bosa.
Yeah.
Like, it is Nick Bosa.
I agree. I'm going to go Nick Bosa, Garrett, then I'll go Watt, then Parsons.
That's exactly my list, too.
However,
I will
say
my list.
However, I'll preface that with saying that Micah Parsons is my vote, who I predicted I think is going to win Defensive Player of the Year.
All right, I like it. Get that bet on Tipico, by the way, with Big Play 150 as your code. You can use your Future 30 bet on that, by the way. You get a Future 30 when you sign up with our friends at Tipico using that code Big Play 150. All right, update on our Twitter inbox. Who are you more excited to see, or really who are you more interested in watching on Monday night? Pretty closer than I thought. 58-42 people say Deshaun Watson. So I get it, but I think it tells you something that even Jones is in this conversation to that point. All right, when we come back, Nick Shook, again, bold, bald, beautiful. I'm adding the beautiful part. The bold, bald, beautiful boys on Chico's show. Nick joins him every Tuesday. Get the replays, as always, on Big Play and on YouTube. But Nick, of course, works for NFL.com. He did his quarterback index for week 2, and he had a lot of movement. Dude, of the 32 quarterbacks, he had 29 of them move after week 1. We'll tell you who's at top. We'll tell you where Deshaun Watson is at. We'll dive into that a little bit more when we return. Again, jump us on Twitter at Matt Fontana Show. Get us on the iHeart app. Take us with you wherever you're going. And as always, on YouTube. And don't forget, follow Big Play on Twitter and enter for your chance to come join us Monday night for a chance to watch football with Josh Cribbs. Go follow it on Big Play, Tipico as well, and post your bet slip. Get a chance for that. We got some big things coming too next week as far as some tailgate stuff. We'll announce that coming up. Where did Deshaun Watson land on Nick Shook's quarterback rankings for this week? I'll tell you when we return. You listen to Matt Fontana Show right here or watching on Big Play. All right, we got quarterback rankings here from Nick Shook on NFL.com. This, of course, after week 1 and before last night, but didn't really, I don't think, impact Jalen Hurts because he was at number 2. Deshaun Watson, a little far down the list, I'll tell you where. Welcome back. Matt Fontana show right here on Big Play. So this was absolutely after week 1, and we prefaced it by saying we know Deshaun Watson did not play all that well. So we start at the top of Nick's quarterback rankings. Number 1, Patrick Mahomes, as it properly should be. Even with a loss, I don't care. He's still the best quarterback until somebody knocks him off. Number 2, also deserving, and I don't think this is going to move very much, Jalen Hurts. He does have Tua at 3. He jumped 5 spots up to number 3. I think it's and this kind of goes with my Bills take, where I'm not a big believer in the Bills. I think it's a big year for the Dolphins. Like, I think they could really do something with Tua. And again, I was always a Herbert guy. There's a chance they're both pretty good. We'll have to see. Number 4 is my guy, Justin Herbert. He's up 1 spot. Number 5, Trevor Lawrence. Ryan.
I'm a Trevor Lawrence
5
truther.
guys. Oh, I like Trevor Lawrence. I'm a big Trevor Lawrence guy. Joe Burrow is 6. Lamar Jackson is 7. Josh Allen is 8. 7 of the top 8 are in the AFC. Think about that for just a second. And I'll tell you where Deshaun Watson's at in a second. I don't think Nick's ranking is far off. And 7 of the top 8 quarterbacks in the NFL are in your conference, and 2 of those 7 are in your division. Wow. It goes back to the importance that, thank goodness, like, the Browns got this put together when they did, because we would be light years left behind. Like, not even a joke about how far behind you'd be if you don't have a quarterback. We know it's the most important thing in sports. It is the most important position in sports. Got to have a quarterback. But, bro, think about that. 7 of the top 8 quarterbacks, you will have to go through at least 4 of them to make the playoffs. Whether making your own division or even just getting to the Super Bowl AFC Championship game. You will have to go through 4 to 5 of them to make the playoffs and try to get it to the AFC Championship game. And the other thing, I don't think they're going anywhere. Like, I don't think Patrick Mahomes is falling off a cliff anytime soon. I don't think Joe Burrow, he's going to get it back, trust me. I'm really afraid a little of Lamar Jackson. And I think Allen, you know me. I think really Herbert and Trevor Lawrence are on the up and coming too, and Tua. Scary stuff. So again, we get down. Okay, let me ask you this, Ryan. So again, Nick Shook's quarterback rankings. Top 7. 8. Top 8. 7 of the 8 are in the AFC, with the only other NFC quarterback being Jalen Hurts. Who do you think the next NFC quarterback is on the list at number 9?
Is this based off of week 1?
It's based off of week 1, but I think it's like anything. Like, he still has Mahomes as number 1, even though he didn't win the football game and didn't look necessarily great, but he's still up.
Sure. Is it Jared Goff?
No, it is not Jared Goff. Good guess. I like where your head's at.
Yeah.
And Goff is up there at 10, so he's 1 spot behind this NFC quarterback who is at number 9.
Okay, interesting. Brock Purdy?
It is Brock Purdy.
Yep.
It is Brock Purdy. And then there's this guy. First overall picks live long day. Here's Mr. Irrelevant kind of sneaking his way in. 2 touchdowns, 220 yards. Pretty good. Pretty good. Did not see that. Goff is at 10. Nick. He has Russell Wilson at 11. Nick, that's it. On Tuesdays for the Bold, Beautiful Browns breakdown show with Nick, I'm staying around. Nick, 11 for Russell Wilson. I don't see it. Anyway, we continue. And he's got him up a spot, by the way. Dak Prescott is 12. Matt Stafford, 13. Jordan Love is 14. 245 and 3 touchdowns. I guess he'll do it. Folks, Deshaun Watson is down at number 19. Derek Carr, Geno Smith, and James Garoppolo are all ahead of Deshaun Watson.
Where is Kenny Pickett? That's what I need to know.
That's a great question. I'm still scrolling. He's in the 20s. Baker Mayfield, 23. Oh, man. Kenny Pickett is 28. He dropped 5 spots to 28 in Shook's rankings. I'm still shook. That's bad. The few listeners we have on the show, we just lost. I apologize. I am shook at Nick's. Russell Wilson at 11? I don't see that. His write-up on Watson. Watson's first outing was average, but still worthy of a passing grade. Early pressure forced Watson out of his comfort zone against the Bengals amid bad weather, and he sent a number of passes in the dirt, several feet short of his intended target. But he also engineered a few quality drives, including one that got ruined by a fumble, and capped off another one with a touchdown pass to Harrison Bryant. Watson did have one wow throw on the day when he dropped that dime to Donovan Peoples-Jones. He threw an ugly interception on a deflected pass and ran for a score. In total, that was enough for the Browns to advance to week 2 as a winner. So I guess I shouldn't be overly critical about Watson. As we know, it was a bad game. I think he'll clean it up. But I don't know about 19, man. Like, Geno Smith threw for 112 yards and a touchdown. And he's ahead of him. Mac Jones. Okay, Mac Jones did have 3 touchdowns. That's another one, too. So, like, of all the quarterbacks, too, like, okay, so just in the AFC, how crazy is this? Okay. So I mentioned the tops, and again, this is Nick Shook's quarterback ratings on NFL.com. Patrick Mahomes, of course. Tua, Herbert, Lawrence Burrow, Lamar, Josh Allen, Russell Wilson, Mac Jones, and Jimmy Garoppolo. That has Deshaun Watson as the 11th best quarterback just in the AFC. That will not get it done. Like, when I say top 12, I mean top 12 in the NFL. And I think he'll get there, and we'll see. I think there's going to be a little, real quick on that, I think there's a little pressure on, not a little, there's always pressure on Watson, but is it going to be something that he is going to want to go out there Monday and flush week 1 and prove some people wrong? That can lead to 2 things. Either A, he goes out there and is awesome and throws for 4 touchdowns and 300 yards and he lights it up. That's one. Or 2, the pressure does get to him, starts making some mistakes. One of the things that I think I'm going to keep my eye on, too, is when he has another one of those open receivers, is the ball getting there? Like, is he a little shell shook from week 1? Does he overcorrect? I guess my thing is that I'm trying to guard against is the overcorrection for Watson in week 2. I do chalk it up to the weather. I chalk it up to wet football. Okay, fine. I hope there's not too much overcorrection. Well, speaking of overcorrections, we sometimes do that with our bets. And we will do that when we return with our friends at Tipico. We're going to run through the NFL slate, make our selections. We'll do that when we return. Big Play 150. Get signed up at Tipico. You can make our selections right there with us. We'll run through our picks next. You're listening to Matt Fontana Show right here on Big Play, iHeart app, streaming live on YouTube and social media. Winning a little bit of money next. All right, let's get to our selections because, boy, did I take it last night on Tipico. It's what I get for betting on Kirk Cousins.
I'm hot,
in prime
Matt.
time.
I'm
You got
hot.
Ryan. Tell everybody your bet on Tipico last night, Ryan. Tell them what you did.
It was Vikings to cover the spread, and what did they do? They covered the spread
6.5, by the way. I had him at 6.
and a Jordan Addison anytime touchdown. 2 in his first 2 career games.
Well done. Well done on that. All right, no parlays for us here. I mean, I guess you can parlay it if you want, but we're going to do this every Friday with our friends at Tipico. Use the code BIGPLAY150 to get signed up. Let's run through the selections for Sunday. We start Packers taking on the road to go take on the Atlanta Falcons. A little bit of a shocker here for me, Ryan, is that not so much that Jordan Love played really, really well. It was a little bit of the Atlanta Falcons. As I sit there and I think about 1-0, and they actually beat the aforementioned, or no, I'm sorry, they beat the Panthers last weekend. Take that for what it's worth. I think this is one of my locks of the weekend. I love the Packers here, plus 1.5. I think there's a little bit come with Jordan Love. My only question, my only hesitation, I think it's why the line is where it's at, Aaron Jones. If he can't play, he's injured. They didn't have Christian Watson in that first game. He still got back to practice. It's a scary one. I'm waiting for the Falcons to implode, but the other side of it is the Falcons could see themselves as a team that could steal that AFC South. That AFC South sucks. They are so bad. Desmond Ridder, fine. I think this might be a game that they use Bijan Robinson even more than they did with Tyler Algier. Drake London's bad. Kyle Pitts, I don't think you'll be able to throw the football. I'm going to take the Packers there, plus 1.5.
Yeah, I agree with you, Matt. I like the Packers in this one. And the Falcons are going to try and play slow, as you know Arthur Smith does. But the Packers' injury report is kind of long. Potentially going to be without all these guys are questionable. Rashawn Gary, Aaron Jones, Christian Watson, Quay Walker, who had that pick six.
That's right. Yeah.
And Romeo Doubs. So it's going to be interesting, but I like the Packers too in this one.
All right, next up, 1 o'clock kick there. 2 first-round quarterbacks, Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud. The Colts are on the road to take on the Texans. The Texans are a 1.5-point home favorite. Also talking about injuries, Anthony Richardson got a little banged up coming out of that game. And, he's going to learn. And I know that Trevor Lawrence was trying to tell him, like, dude, you can't take these hits. This isn't the same way. I think they will. The Texans are sneaky here for me to get the win. I think minus 1.5. You know what I really like in that game? The over-under is only set at 39.5. I like the over a lot. I could expect some points. You're in a dome. Quarterbacks are going to want to show out. I saw a little bit out of C.J. Stroud, what I liked. I still don't overly like the Texans teams. On the whole, I think the Colts have a better roster. Texans are at home. I'll take them minus that 1.5.
I think I'm actually going to go the Colts on this one, Matt. I expect C.J. Stroud and also Anthony Richardson to kind of both have a great day. Like you said, in a dome, a rookie show out. I just think this one comes down to Indiana has a better roster. But that being said, the Texans could surprise some people. And I do like C.J. Stroud. And if he does have a great game, then this one could be a coin flip.
1 o'clock in Detroit. Nobody's flying higher right now than the Detroit Lions after their Week 1 Thursday night win over the Kansas City Chiefs. They welcome in the Seattle Seahawks. And, of course, Seattle, they shockingly pretty much got smoked by the Rams. Like, I know that was a closer game than it kind of seemed, but the Rams really beat the hell out of the Seahawks. They now travel. They're at Ford Field this weekend. It's a 4.5-point spread, which I think is extremely fair. Like, that's a really good line. Here's my battle on this one. These are two teams that I can't get a read on. I tend to think Seattle isn't good. I'd like to think that the Lions are going to have a massive letdown after that. Oh, I hate this. Because honestly, if it was anybody worse than Seattle, I'm riding Detroit. If it's anybody better than Seattle, I'm taking that team. You go first here. I can't.
I'm going to take the Seahawks to cover this one.
I kind of was leaning that way. I'll go with the Seahawks.
I mean, horrible. Maybe one of the most disappointing Week 1 performances was the Seahawks. Kind of got blown out by the Rams. But I think Geno and them will bounce back. Pete Carroll will come with a little fire. And I just don't think Detroit's offense is good enough, really, that we've seen, unless they click in this Week 2 to cover that 4.5 spread.
Next up, obviously a very important game for the Cleveland Browns. watching the Ravens travel to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals. Ravens beat the Texans last week. Of course, the Bengals got beat by us. It is a customary 3.5-point home favorite there for Cincinnati. The question is, what do you want to happen? What's better for the Browns? That the Bengals start 0-2 and the Ravens start 2-0, or they each start 1-1? A tie actually is not good. A tie is not something that actually helps. Like, shout out to Ken Carmen. Love Ken. Ken always has a great point. Ties actually benefit the teams that tie. Because when it comes to those tiebreakers, it actually helps. You don't want to tie, and I don't think they're going to tie. Is the pressure mounting on the Bengals so much that they won't be able to handle it? Conversely, I think there's a world that the Ravens are phony. I don't know why. I just do. The loss of J.K. Dobbins cannot be understated here, too. Todd Monken didn't really have a good start. I'm going my gut. I'm going to go with the Bengals minus the 3.5. I think they're going to get it done.
Yeah, I agree with you. I expect Joe Burrow and the Bengals to bounce back. And I could see Joe Burrow carving up this thin defense.
Sunday, 1 o'clock in Tennessee, down in Nashville, the Titans welcoming the Chargers in. The Chargers, a road 2.5-point favorite. This screams trap game because it just seems like you looked at me the same way around. This screams trap because you just sit there and just rail the Chargers and say, yeah, that, oh, come on, what are you talking about? But if the Titans can just control the game with Derrick Henry a little bit, plus the Chargers got to come out pretty pissed off on how they played against Miami, and the knock is going to continue to be on on Justin Herbert. Can he finish these type of games out? I can't. I can't sleep if I take the Titans. I'm taking the Chargers minus 2.5.
I agree with you. I'm taking the Chargers. They're clearly the better team, but it will be interesting. Austin Eckler is on the injury report, so we'll have to see if he's going to suit up.
Bears Bucks down in Tampa, 2.5-point home favorite for the Bucks. Sorry to Baker, they ain't getting this done. I'm actually going to take the Bears as a dog here on the road, plus 2.5 to get a win there. Really should take them on the money line, but I'm just going to take them to cover here on the 2.5.
So let me ask you that. Yeah, I'm just so conflicted on how I feel about Justin Fields. I just don't know how to feel.
He has to do everything. They, really didn't get DJ Moore all that involved. I think they'll get it fixed. There were a lot of people, by the way, watching that game last night and saying, man, do they miss Shane Steichen? Oh, no, he's in Indy. Right. Is Matt Eberflus still with the Bears?
Matt Eberflus is the head coach of the Bears, yes.
I'll take the Bears. I'm gonna sway that out. I'm gonna take them on the money line plus 120.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Tampa Bay to cover.
Okay. All right, I like it.
I'm just hype for Baker.
Raiders Bills up there in Orchard Park. Bills an 8.5-point favorite. That's a lot, but it also is Jimmy Garoppolo. Bills minus that 8.5.
I'll take that as well. Also, Devontae Adams and Jacoby Myers on the injury report this week. So
yes.
Without their top two weapons, we'll see.
This potentially an AFC championship primer. The Chiefs and the Jags. Is that game on CBS?
It is. CBS.
Oh, no, they're going to show us the Bengals and... Damn it. All right, I guess I'm going to have to get an SLF. This game's going to be awesome. Chiefs-Jags down in Jacksonville. Chiefs are a road 3.5-point favorite. Over-under set at 51. Is this the downfall of the Chiefs? Travis Kelce's status, all of that up in the air, and the up-and-coming Jacksonville Jaguars. It's a little concerned that the Jags struggled as much as they did against the Colts. I will listen to against the Colts. I'll listen to that a little bit. I'll take the Chiefs. I will take them minus that 3.5.
I got one word for you, Matt.
Yes.
Duval.
Oh, all right.
Give me the Jags,
I'll
baby.
listen to it. I will listen to it.
On Chico's show, when I produced, I made the claim, my hot take this season, Jags will be the number 1 seed in the AFC.
They're hot. I get it. They're hot. To the 4 o'clock slate we go. The 49ers traveling to take on the Rams. The 49ers are a giant 7.5-point favorite. Butt whooping up on the Steelers. For the Rams, yeah, they got a nice win against Seattle. I think the 49ers are on a mission, and I will take them to cover a big 7.5-point road cover here. That's big.
I agree. It seems like, a division rival spread type of spread, 7.5. But I'm going with the Niners. They're the best team in football right now. Giants
traveling to take on Arizona. 4.5. 4 on our friends with Tipico. Giants taking on the Cards. Bad football game, terrible. The thing is, will the Giants rebound and be able to get it done? They should, because they're playing the JV squad of the NFL. Giants -4 all day long.
I'd be a fool not to bet that with you.
Can't do that. Commanders, Broncos in Denver, 425. Broncos a 3.5-point home favorite. I don't know. I guess the Broncos -3. They got to get it right. You don't like it? You don't like it?
I just don't like the game.
I don't like the game. It's a terrible game. Should we just remove that?
Yeah.
All right, we're not going to pick that one. We're taking that one out. By the way, I'm doing a full leg parlay here on Tipico. If I hit this, I'm not coming to work. No, I'll be here on Monday. Tuesday, maybe not. I'm up to a plus 77,000 parlay on every game. I'm going to do it. I'm going to put $1 down on Tipico. We'll see how it goes. Sunday, 425, the Jets without Aaron Rodgers traveling to Dallas to take on the Cowboys. It will all come crashing down for the Jets. I know that was a nice win. The Cowboys have something working here. They need to rebound. I'll take them -9.
Yeah,
Jets just won't be able to put up
that
points.
Seems like a lot. Yeah, 9. That seems like a lot of points, and it's tricky because I am a true believer in the Jets defense. I really like them, but it's going to be so hard when they're going to struggle to even put up any type of points. No. So I'll take the Cowboys to cover as well.
Sunday night football, Gillette. I know you would be leaning Patriots if a time passed. It is the Miami Dolphins. We both like Tua. Think it's a big year for him, so I got to ride with them -3 on the road, taking on New England.
Yeah, I'm not a big Patriots believer. Love Bill Belichick, but I think a 3 cover is going to be not too difficult for Tua.
Now, of course, we have a dual Monday night football matchup between the Saints and the Panthers, Browns and Steelers. We will get those picks on Monday with our friends at Tipico. So here's our quick run. Bengals -3.5 against the Ravens. We'll take the Chiefs -3.5 at the Jags. Seahawks +4.5 on the road against the Lions. Texans -1.5 against the Colts. Bears, I'm taking them on the money line against the Bucks. Chargers -2.5 against the Titans. Packers a 1.5 dog on the road. I'll take them to cover and actually, frankly, win that game against the Falcons. Let me change that out real quick. I'm just going to take them to win. That's a 1.5. What does that matter? I know they're going to win by a point. Watch it. I'm taking them on the money line. Then we will have the Bills -8.5 against the Raiders. San Francisco -7.5 against the Rams. Giants -4.5 against the Cards. Jets not covering. Cowboys getting it done -9. And I'll take the Dolphins -3 against the Patriots. There's our picks. I got them. All right, they're up at Tipico. Use code BIGPLAY150. When we come back, we'll jump in the morning update. If you haven't seen this story about what's happening is it Alexander Madison, right? It's terrible. It's absolutely awful. After Thursday Night Football, it's awful. We'll recap Thursday Night Football. We got the morning update. We'll get to it next. Fontana Show right here on Big Play, iHeart app. Morning updates next. All right, we got the morning update here on a Friday edition. All the stories you got to know to be caught up, and unfortunately, a pretty sad one, and I guess the state of our society when it comes to social media. We'll get to it. It's Fontana Show right here on Big Play. I'm Matt Fontana. We're bringing producer Ryan for the morning update.
Alrighty. Seems like Coach Prime just cannot stay out of the news. Deion Sanders won't have a hard time making Colorado's rivalry game this week against Colorado State feel personal, after the Rams coach Jay Norvell had this to say about Deion Sanders. I take my hat off and I take my glasses off when I talk to grown-ups, but that's what my mother taught me.
Don't poke the bear, man. Just don't, okay? Colorado State, they're not winning that football game. And I think what Deion has said is so right on about he's doing things differently. He is, and that's going to shake some people of these old school, all that kind of stuff. You need that. There's no way that Deion Sanders is bad for college football. You want to know why people don't like Deion Sanders? Because he's going to start taking recruits, and he's going to start building up a power. That's why everybody else is frankly afraid of what he's doing. And let's be completely serious on things. And he's bringing this up too. It's different to see a powerful black man doing what he's doing, and that shakes a lot of people in the wrong. And we've had powerful coaches in college football before, certainly, but he's doing things a little bit differently. So that's a cultural comment that he just made, and I think that's asinine. I think it's stupid because you were raised that way. That's fine, but that's not it. What does that matter? And now you're just throwing gas on this fire for them to get smoked this weekend because the Buffaloes are going to do it. I didn't think the Buffaloes going to win last weekend. I didn't take them, but I'm a big believer in what Deion is doing. And I didn't think it'd be this quick, to be honest with you. But College Game Day is there. Big Noon Kickoff is there. He has completely turned things around there. It's fun to watch. Bad idea on Norvell's part. Okay, man. They're going to get smoked on Saturday.
Alrighty, on a more somber note, Alexander Madison received very, very hateful messages in his Instagram DMs after the Vikings loss on Thursday. And this comes just about a week after Lincoln Riley said that he had Oklahoma fans coming at him, telling him very horrible things because he left Oklahoma to take the USC job. Yeah,
and Madison obviously fumbled a couple of times. I mean, they were horrible things. They were absolutely atrocious things. And it's tough because the people would say, just don't listen. That's people need to be held accountable, okay? And now it's even getting worse, but did you see the new thing that X is rolling out? You can subscribe to the premium thing and you can hide your likes. So now we're even going further down the path of nameless, faceless people on social media. You should be held accountable for what you say and what you post. I have always said this. It'll never happen. But you should have to put your address in when you sign up. And it's when you post these things or when you DM Myles Garrett the horrible things that he was DM'd a couple of years ago, they should be able to find you, come to your house, and not even just show it to your spouse. Show it to your boss. Show it to your friend. Go, just so you know, this is the type of person that you associate with. This is the type of person that wants to send these messages. Hate is a terrible thing. And people have the platform now to then spew their hate. It's terrible. And, just don't read your DMs. Don't read that. How about going after the people that actually send this stuff? They should be held accountable for it. They should be found. And it's just, again, I just want them to send it to their boss. Just send it so they know that this is the type of person that you're dealing with that crafts these messages and feels this way. It's a football game. Who cares in the grand scheme of things? I hate it. I truly... Social media can be great at times. It can be horrible at times. We know that. And I feel like, unfortunately, Ryan's getting worse. Social media is getting to a point where it is even less policed than it was before. There's more room for the hate out there, which is just not at all what we're trying to do. Those people, I wish they could find them. I truly hope that they could find those people. They should be held accountable. They should.
Already, Ole Miss defensive tackle DeSanto Rollins, who said he was recently kicked off the team for missing practices and meetings during a, quote, mental health crisis, is suing the university and coach Lane Kiffin for failure to provide equal protection, racial and sexual discrimination, and multiple other allegations.
This is one that I think as we continue on in, again, the world that we live in, that I'm happy to say that mental health is starting, not there yet, but starting to carve out its proper place and understanding that it's very important. This is not something that is made up. This is not something that is just for a generation or a certain group of people. Mental health impacts everyone, and it needs to be taken seriously. And I'm happy to see that there are efforts being made and there are advances being made on the mental health part of it. So I say that to say this, and I don't necessarily know the insight to all of this, and I'm sure this will all get figured out if the lawsuit comes. You have to, did he follow the proper channels to be made known? And it's not as easy because sometimes admitting that you need help is one of the biggest steps towards that. And knowing that you have help with us here, we're here for you in any way that we can be. DMs are open. If you ever need us, we're here. But if it was just he stopped showing up and didn't follow the proper channels to seek the help, then I could understand where Ole Miss is coming from. The other part of this, and this is just me, and I don't know the inside, so I want that to be clear. Is this also a situation that people then sometimes use mental health as the excuse or the cop out? And I don't know. I don't know. I hope the young man's doing okay, and I hope they could come to some sort of resolution. But that's the problem that we all face in this is if you need the help, hopefully the help is there. You need to be let it known. It's a lawsuit in the NCAA. It's one of 100. I hope they figure it out. I hope he gets to go back to school. I do.
Already, Mel Kiper released his 2024 big board. And excuse me if I pronounce his name wrong, but Colorado quarterback Shedeur Sanders, he has at number 5. He says, believe the hype. Sanders has been sensational through 2 games for the Buffaloes. I see future top 10 pick potential. He's that good. He's only a true junior, which means he could return to school next season and compete to be the number 1 overall pick in the 2025 class.
Yeah, I mean, there's those big boards. The one thing I have no patience for at this time of the year is the next year mock drafts because you don't know what team's going to be where. But the big boards are fun to watch as you go on. Marvin Harrison, where's he going to be? Some of the big quarterbacks, where's Caleb Williams going to be? Is that Duke kid on the rise? Drake May, all that kind of stuff is fun. And yeah, I think with Shedeur Sanders, that's how it works. When you elevate a team and you do things, when you are one of the things, like Travis Hunter, when he gets there, because he's still got another year he's got to play, but when you get there, like scouts watch, like NFL scouts watch every game, and they're going to piece this apart to say it's not only does this guy an athletic freak and could do these amazing things, he's also elevating a team. Like he is taking a team on his shoulder and saying, we're doing this. Now, granted, he and his dad are comboing this, and his brother's there too, but all that stuff helps. It's awesome. I think it's a lot of fun to watch, and they are electrifying players there for Colorado.
The Northeast Ohio district report cards came out yesterday. I don't know if you got a chance to see them, Matt, but the Cleveland Metropolitan School District managed only 2 stars out of 5 in achievement and 1 star in both graduation and early literacy. However, there were 13 suburban districts that earned 5-star overall rankings. Those include Bay Village, Beechwood, Brecksville, Broadview Heights, Chagrin Falls, Cuyahoga Heights, Fairview Park, Mayfield, North Royalton, Orange, Rocky River, Solon, Strongsville, and Westlake.
Congratulations to those schools. We're very blessed here in Northeast Ohio to have a lot of great school districts. You know, I am a Cleveland resident. My son and daughter, we are in the Cleveland School District, and I know that they work very hard on that, and there's some uphill battles, and I hope that it starts to turn around a little bit better to try to help out. But yeah, we're very blessed with a lot of great school districts, and shout out to all those schools on a Friday night, because there's big Friday night matchups tonight all across Northeast Ohio. So great stuff, Ryan, here on the Morning Update. When we come back, I want to update our Twitter question. It's up at Matt Fontana Show. Who are you more interested in watching Monday night? Is it DeJuan Jones? Is it Deshaun Watson? Some of the other things that brought up DeJuan Jones, and there's a take in the Twitter inbox. Jed Will's catching strays. He's just catching strays because it just seems to be what it is. We'll talk about that next. It's Fontana Show, Big Play, iHeart app. Don't forget about our promotion going for Monday Night Football. You want to come down to watch the game on Monday with Josh Cribbs, head over to Big Play on Twitter. You got to repost the tweet and then show your Tipico bet slip and follow Tipico. I retweeted it at MattFontana83. Drop me a follow there, and you get a chance to come watch the game with Josh Cribbs on Monday night. So don't forget about that. That's up on social media. We'll talk more DeJuan Jones, and yes, Jed Wills, I guess, was always going to be part of the conversation. That's next right here on Big Play. Gearing up for Monday Night Football 2 days away. It's fun because we have Friday. It was a little fall feel this morning. We're going to have a great day today. You got college football, not an amazing slate tomorrow, but it's okay. Then Sunday, great. And the thing is, Ryan, we get to watch Sunday and just sit back and watch because the Browns are on Monday Night Football. We're back live Monday, too, from 9 to 11. And special announcement that Chico is doing a little special pregame show on Monday afternoon. So we won't be in his normal slot, 12 to 2. He's going to be pushed back a little bit in the afternoon. So how about Monday? We're going to have Ted Ginn Jr. on our show Monday. Then Chico with a little pregame action. And you have the opportunity to come down and watch the game with Josh Cribbs at our Tipico Big Play setup down here at Burke Lakefront Airport. All you got to do is go to Big Play on Twitter, hit the retweet, follow Tipico, drop your bet slip, and we're giving away 10 tickets to come down and watch the game with Josh on Monday. So we're all geared up, all locked and loaded for the weekend and Monday right here on the Matt Fontana Show. Welcome back. Big Play, iHeart app, and, of course, streaming on YouTube and social media. Well, social media, speaking of, at Matt Fontana Show, our Twitter question is up. We asked everybody earlier this morning, who are you going to be watching more closely on Monday? And it's more like intrigued, interested to watch of Deshaun Watson or Dwan Jones. Still about 59-41. I don't want to lie to the people. 59-41. People say Deshaun Watson. But Cody tweets. Shout out to Cody, friend of ours here at Big Play. He said he has more confidence in Dwan Jones than he does Jedrick Wills. Ouch. I can't deny that either, by the way. Oh, Jed. I mean, okay, it was one game, but you pile that on the rest of the preseason, there's questions there. And I think with what Dwan Jones will start doing on Monday, there's always this idea of, like, could he flip over to left tackle, that kind of stuff. Ryan, you go into a game against the Steelers defense with TJ Watt and Highsmith, and you have your two biggest questions. Am I wrong to say that the two biggest questions on this team are both your tackles?
I don't think that's a stretch one bit.
Thank God for Dustin Hopkins. It's not your kicker anymore. I don't think it's anybody in the secondary. Wide receivers are fine. I know it's not Nick Chubb. Watson, yeah, I get the questions, but you also have to have some sort of belief that he will just eventually get back to form, right? There's more. Deshaun Watson is built up more for you to fall back on to believe he's going to be good. Jed Wills and Dwan Jones don't have that, right? Yeah, man, I think that's tough. And another guy that gets kind of lost in this shuffle is James Hudson, because I thought he might actually take over right tackle. I'm fine with Dwan Jones getting thrown in there. But, yeah, you might be in a real precarious spot where you could be going into another season next year where you might have to. Now, Jed Wills had the fifth-year option picked up, so I don't think he's going anywhere. But, Ryan, it's a real option that you might have to replace both of your starting tackles. And you might be missing a guard, too, if Whiteteller leaves. I don't know. Like, there's a lot of decisions facing Andrew Berry going into next year.
Yeah, Monday's going to be super interesting, obviously, with Dwan Jones, but like we mentioned as well with Jedrick Wills, and it's going to be interesting to see Alex Highsmith, how he plays. There was an interesting stat. Let me pull it up. Something about Jed Wills and just how inefficient he has been against Alex Highsmith. Let me pull it up real quick, but I believe he averages, like, in the last... Let's pull it up. I want to be exact.
Okay, yeah, pull it. I mean, that's the thing. They've seen each other a lot.
In the last 4 games versus Wills, okay, Highsmith had 11 pressures and 6 sacks.
Ugh.
Not good.
And the thing to come back to is at least Watson can move. Like, he's mobile. You can't have him back there running for his life, but that's a serious concern for this team kind of moving forward. Another factor for Monday that I've thought a little bit about is Mike Tomlin versus Kevin Stefanski. Because as I add up all these things about where the Steelers have an advantage, where the Browns have an advantage, that is one that, and I like Kevin Stefanski. Mike Tomlin's a better head coach. He's won a Super Bowl. Like, he's the better guy. But is that something that truly factors into these games? Like, when you think about Monday of it's in Pittsburgh, which I think is maybe the biggest factor of all of this. Like, when I think about things that I'm a little worried about for the Browns on Monday, I think them playing in Pittsburgh is it. Then, yeah, Mike Tomlin, then this and that. I'm really kind of discrediting, like, Kenny Pickett. And I assume they're going to get Najee Harris more than 6 carries like they did in week 1, and that game got away from them. So it'll be a little bit of a change. It'll be a little bit of kind of a flip. But it's like, I start adding up all these things that I go, okay, where could they get us or how could this happen here? And I don't see too many that Pittsburgh should have the advantage, which is crazy. But the thing is, if they take advantage of Highsmith and Watt versus DeJuan Jones and Jed Wills, it could be a very, very, very long day for the Browns. Big. That's massive. Yeah, can you run the football to try to change some of that? Sure, maybe. But those are two areas, Ryan, that I think about. And that stat is obviously not making me feel real good about Jed Wills over there.
Yeah, and what's really interesting, too, is you brought up Najee Harris. You go back to his rookie year, he was second in the league in touches with over 300 just behind Jonathan Taylor. And now he's basically splitting 50-50 with Jaylen Warren. Big switch in philosophy there in Pittsburgh.
And that might be somewhere, if you're going to go down, you go down with that. Like, people have been screaming in Pittsburgh about them not getting the football to Najee Harris, but also not getting the football to George Pickens, who are probably their two best things. Oh, and by the way, on the injury report, Pat Freiermuth had a chest. He didn't practice one. I'm assuming he's good to go for this game. We'll get more information a little bit later today. But that could be too big, too, if they're missing Freiermuth on that offense. And just kind of as they all factor it in, when you look at how could they beat us? Like, and this is something I want to do on Monday, of how could the Steelers beat us? When they talk about the recipe for success for them, like, what works? And I think it starts defensively with Watt and Highsmith. But then how are they going to beat us offensively? With how the Browns defense looked and how just they played amazing against a really good offense in Cincinnati. How else could they make that work? How else could that offense work? Well, running the football and getting it to George Pickens is kind of how that goes. So we'll have to see. Believe we having Sonny coming up? Touch. All right, let's do this. Let's catch a break. Sonny Gupta is going to join us from Tipico. He is their sportsbook manager. I want to get Sonny's thoughts on a lot of the bets that we have for this weekend. We've already run through our slate, but I want to get his thoughts on Ohio State, Western Kentucky. That is a lock for me. And we'll get Sonny's thoughts on that when we return as well. Fontana Show, Big Play, iHeart app. Stay with us. We'll get some picks. All right, we made our selections for the weekend already. I've made some guaranteed locks, but this is just me spewing. Let's get a little more information on it right here. Fontana Show, Big Play, iHeart app. Download that Tipico app and use that code BIGPLAY150. So that way, at least I'm only wasting your bonus credits because my picks sometimes are not that great. But to get a little more insight on that, we bring in Sonny Gupta. He is the sportsbook manager with our great friends at Tipico. Again, use that BIGPLAY150. Sonny, happy to have you back here on the show. We start with Monday night because we look at the Browns and the Steelers. It's tough for us here in Cleveland to sometimes take our rose-colored glasses or Browns-colored glasses off to sit here and say, listen, we know Pittsburgh is very hard to play in. We know that record that they have with Monday Night Football. It's a tough one. Right now with our friends at Tipico, you can grab this game with the Browns being a road 2.5-point favorite. Sonny, what have you seen with the line? What do you like about that game Monday?
Yeah, this one's really interesting. So the Browns obviously looked super impressive, held Joe Burrow to maybe his worst game in his career. Defense looked great. Deshaun Watson looked pretty good. The running game was all over it last Sunday. And then conversely, the Steelers could not stop the Niners. Nothing looked like it was going well, but it's a division rival. I would be surprised if this is not a battle till the very end. Right now, the Browns have only 13% of the money on them.
Wow.
On the app. So people are heavy on the Steelers. That being said, I'm picking the Browns -2.5. So I'm with you there with the Browns.
So Sonny, 13% of the money on the Browns. Could we see this line even shift a little bit? Because I feel like the Browns and the Bengals, like when we talked last week, that line seemed to be moving every other hour.
Yeah, so I wouldn't be shocked if this moves all the way up until Monday night. Look, the Steelers are at home. They need this game, right? Especially after the poor showing against the Niners. That being said, the Niners may be the best team in the NFL. So I don't know if we should read too much into week one, but I would not be shocked if this moved another point.
I want to ask you about some of the big NFL games on the slate, because one of the ones we really had our eye on, Chiefs-Jags. It's the Chiefs 3.5 on the road at Jacksonville. Both Ryan and I thought the Chiefs would really have a big bounce back, but I feel like the Jags are one of those teams, Sonny, that probably are the darling of a lot of bettors. Like there's a lot of people, I know we got a lot of money on Trevor Lawrence for MVP before the season. I know there's a lot of money on the Jags to cover against the Colts. What are you seeing with the Chiefs and the Jags? KC, the road 3.5-point favorite there.
Yeah, you're not wrong. This is an early darling, right? There was a lot of money on the Jags to make the playoffs, to win the division. Trevor Lawrence had a lot of MVP buzz on our book as well. So this game's interesting. It's the highest total that we see for the Sunday slate. At 51.5, it's a high number, and I still love the over. 70% of the money is actually on the over as well. Both teams have high-flying offenses, high expectations. I fully expect the Chiefs to try to rebound after last week. I know Chris Jones is supposed to be back, but he hasn't played since February. I don't really expect him to be 100% here. So I'm betting the over. I think that this is going to be a really fun game.
I like the over in that too, Sonny, just because there's also some banged up guys in the secondary for KC that they kind of had to fight through that Thursday night game. I think there's something to be said there. One of the other games that we really have our eye on, which could be one that I look at. Well, let me jump to the other AFC games. I want to do Sunday night with you as well, but let's go to the other AFC game where the Ravens and the Bengals. It is the Bengals is the home 3.5 kind of customary favorite. It's two teams I can't get a vibe on, man, because it's like, you know, I think there's a chance that Baltimore isn't good, and they just kind of got they beat up on the Texans. Okay, fine. And then I don't think the Bengals are as bad as they are of what they showed Monday. So here's my conundrum. I don't think Cincinnati is as bad as they showed this past weekend, and I don't think Baltimore is as good as they showed last weekend in their win. 3.5 is the line, pretty standard there for the Bengals at home. Do you like either way there on Cincy versus Baltimore?
Yeah, so I fully agree with you. I don't think the Bengals are as bad as they were. I mean, no one's as bad as they were last week, right? So it was tough. It was tough weather. They were playing against a tough defense in the Browns. I fully expect Joe Burrow to have a bounce back game. Also, with the Ravens, Dobbins going down, that's a really tough injury. Marcus Peters isn't going to be playing this week either. The Ravens won, but they won ugly last week. So outside of Zay Flowers, I wasn't super impressed by anybody on the Ravens. And I fully expect Joe Burrow to have a bounce-back game. I'm going to stay away from that 3.5 point spread. I hate those spreads.
Sure.
So with me, I'm taking the over at 46. That looks like a fun over.
That's what I was going to ask you next, because I think with that, I like it a little bit. And I guess, want to ride the Bengals there, minus 170 on the money line. That's, pretty, you get definitely a lot worse on that one.
To give you a sense, by the way, of where the public's at, they're even on the spread, even money on both sides, but they're 61% on the over. I like the over as well here.
Sunday night, Dolphins, Patriots. This was one of my favorite ones because I just think the Dolphins are going places. I liked what the Patriots showed against Philly. I think that game was more of Philly taking their foot off the gas. I just question everything with the Dolphins. They got all this Juju Smith-Schuster drama coming out now. He's not even one of their best guys on the team. I don't think Mac Jones can do it again. Dolphins are a road 3.5 point favorite. I really like the Dolphins, and I really like the under in that game too, Sonny, at 46.5. Your thoughts?
So first of all, I'm staying away from that under. I don't know what we have with the Dolphins. So the Dolphins have obviously they won a really fun game last week. Tua is now the second best MVP odds at plus 670 on Tipico, just behind Patrick Mahomes. So I think the Dolphins are a legit offense here. I wouldn't touch any under with them, at least not in the near future. I think we saw with the Eagles even this week, they love giving up the lead at the very end. So I wouldn't read too much into that Patriots comeback last week. I like the Dolphins here at -3. I'm going to hammer that and maybe some alternate spreads as well.
Sonny Gupta joining us. He is the sportsbook manager at Tipico. Use the code BIGPLAY150. Get your bonus bets. I love that futures bet too, Sonny. So you get your money you can use now, but then you get a $30 credit that is good for a year that you can use on the futures. I love it. Big play 150 at Tipico. We go to college. Sonny, I made a guarantee. And I do it from time to time. This is a lock pick for me this weekend. It's Ohio State to cover against Western Kentucky. That line is moved. It's now 30 at Tipico. I think I got it at 28 earlier this week when I jumped on it because I was just feeling confident when Ryan Day named Kyle McCord the starter. Didn't have to look over his shoulder. And Sonny, it's blind faith. I know that. But I just assume that Ohio State will get it figured out and they're going to start covering some games. And I think it starts this weekend with Western.
All right, so obviously I'm wearing my Michigan hat. I do not like Ohio State. I think what you got there is what we call closing line value, right? So it started at 28, you're right. It's at 30 right now, and people are all over the Buckeyes even at 30. Right now we still have 80% of the money on the Buckeyes to cover at 30. Here's what I always say, right? Good teams win, great teams cover. Ohio State is yet to cover, and I still don't think they're going to cover again this week. I don't know what you saw from last week from Kyle McCord, Marvin Harrison Jr. had 2 touchdowns, but they were easy, wide open touchdowns. I don't know what you saw last week that makes
I just believe, Sonny, that the pressure is off, and now Kyle McCord will ascend to the ethos of Heisman discussion and become one of the best quarterbacks that school has ever seen. That's just all blind faith is what that is.
Look, Western Kentucky's put up 92 points in the first 2 games. They're not. They don't have a crappy offense. I think they can put some points up. I don't love Ohio State to cover here, but I guess we'll find out. Let's see if this team is legit.
Rest of the slate, we were kind of talking about this a little, Sonny, when you talk about the college slate. We have no top 25 matchups this weekend in college football, which is a little bit off. But the big one, as we know, is Colorado taking on Colorado State. We discussed some of the smack talk that's already been going back and forth between Deion Sanders and the Colorado State coach. It's the game that everybody's going to be at, College game day, big noon kickoff, all that kind of stuff. What do you see when you look at this Colorado State game? It's at 23.5 right now on Tipico. Tell us a little insight as that line moved a little bit, and what do you see on the public money there for Colorado State?
So the line is held steady at 23.5. That being said, we have 97% of the money right now on Colorado to cover.
They're the darlings, man. Everybody's just right now. Sonny, I don't mean to cut you off. I wanted to ask how crazy it has been this week with Colorado to win the national championship, Shedeur Sanders to potentially win the Heisman. Like, I'm sure there's been a giant influx this week on Colorado bets in general, right?
Yeah, let's talk about Sanders, right? Like, he started before the season at 200 to 1 for the Heisman. He's all the way down to 17 to 1. The money keeps coming in on him, even at 17 to 1. Even Travis Hunter, he also started at 200 to 1. He's down to 35 to 1. the money is coming in on Colorado. We haven't seen anything like this in a while, right? Like, they are the media darlings. They keep winning. Like, they keep putting up points. It's a fun team to watch. I'm not going to be betting against them in any way. But yeah, the money keeps coming in on Colorado, and they keep holding up their end of the deal. So I don't expect anything different here. I mean, the coach is primetime, right?
Yeah.
It's college game day. I think they show up here in primetime. I think they light up the scoreboard, and they easily cover here.
Again, kind of a weak slate this weekend, Sonny. You've got Michigan is taking on, I think, or Alabama's taking on South Florida. Michigan's taking on Bowling Green, some of the top teams. I believe Georgia has South Carolina. Should be a game that's 27.5. Is there another game out there? We've got Notre Dame at 35.5 against Central Michigan. We talked to Ohio State. Is there another game out there, maybe not even a big team, but just a game that you really like? You like a spread somewhere?
Yeah, I mean, I think the one other game that's, somewhat interesting here is Tennessee at Florida. That rivalry obviously will always draw attention. I think that's an interesting one here. So Florida had a really underwhelming start to the season when they lost to Utah's backup. Graham Mertz, he's wearing number 15, and that's Tebow's number. I'm surprised they're letting him do that the way he's looked the first two games. Both teams, they have good run games, so I feel like they'll be burning the clock a lot with their rushing attack. I expect this to be under. The total right now is 58.5. I love the under here. 55% of the public's money is on the under, and I would hammer that if I were you.
I love it. Sonny Gupta joining us, and we appreciate the time every week. Sportsbook manager for Tipico. Use that code BIGPLAY150. We got our bets in. We love it. Sonny, we really appreciate the time as always.
Thanks for having me on.
There you go. Sonny Gupta joining us, and I like that pick a lot. And I love Sonny's insight, too, on the over-unders because I am addicted to over-unders. I love spreads are fun, money lines are fun, and Ryan, I've had this debate with people in the past. I love betting the under. People say I'm crazy. Yeah, I know, right? Like, oh, it's no fun. I love watching it because then you're just rooting for, in basketball, every shot to miss. In football, rooting for turnovers. I think let me just put it this way. I think betting the under can be just as fun as betting the over. Call me a masochist if you want. That's how it is. But I got a little parlay rolling here from what Sonny had to say, so I appreciate it. Oh, and by the way, I apologize because we didn't get in this week. There is a chance starting next week that we will have our very own boost on Tipico. We're going to send it off to, you know what? Maybe we get a little boost for Monday night. Let me talk to the higher ups. Let me talk to the important people around here. And we'll have our own show boost on Tipico that you can grab. We'll leave it up to the great people, including Sonny, to get that boosted up there. So we'll get you started. But sign up today. Tipico, use the code BIGPLAY150. You get the $150 in free bets when you deposit $50, and you get that free $30 futures bet that is good for the year. I'm sitting on that bad boy, Ryan, because obviously I kind of rolled through some of the other ones. We're doing all right. We're doing fine. We're doing all right. But you go to your Tipico app, and just when I click on my account, I still have my 1 year-long one. And it's like I click on it, it says your bet is still good for 352 more days or something like that. So I'm good to go on that, but it's like you sit there and you just prime because you're like, oh, I just want to really save this for the right bet. Save it for the right bet. So we got some good bets with Sonny, which we appreciate. All right, let's come back. Let's catch our final break. We'll get ready for the weekend to go. We'll give you a little bridge version of Time Hop. Ryan thought he was getting out of the movies and TV shows. He didn't. We'll do Time Hop. We'll wrap you up. We'll send you on your way here on a Friday edition. Matt Fontana Show right here on Big Play. right, we jump into time hop a little late here, but great stuff with Sonny Gupta. Big play, code 150 there on Tipico. Get your bets in, but let's get to a little bit of time hop. What we do, it is the 15th of September. We head back in time and tell you what happened this day in history, including this day 2018, 5 years ago today. I remember this game, that number 4 Ohio State beat number 15 TCU 40-28. Now, the reason I remember that game is because, Ryan, it was the last time we saw Nick Bosa play for the Ohio State Buckeyes. Bosa would leave that game with a core injury and never play for Ohio State again. And I think there's this battle. I said this about Marvin Harrison, and people freaked out and they got mad, where I said, I don't see anything that Marvin Harrison has to do at Ohio State to prove who he is. He is a locked top 5 pick, and I don't understand why he's playing. And people instantly freak out. Oh, man, he loves Ohio State. He wants to play there. I'm not saying it's wrong. It's just, if I was advising him, if Marvin Harrison Jr. walked into through those doors right there and into the studio and sat right down at that chair, and we talked to him here on the show, and he asked me, hey, Matt, do you think I should keep playing at Ohio State? I would say no. For your best interest, no. And people get all upset. But it's something that I think the NIL stuff kind of, it might like hold off some of that, but not in a big way. Because a lot of these guys, and especially the big name quarterbacks, right? All the NIL money, those are pennies compared to what you get in the NFL. And you want to get to the NFL as soon as you can to start the clock to get a second contract, because that's when you get paid. NIL is nice. It's nothing compared to the NFL money. And there's a select few of the Bosas, of Marvin Harrison, that you just know you're going to the NFL. And you know that almost when you walk on the campus at Ohio State or Tuscaloosa, or you go down to Athens, Georgia, some guys just walk on campus and they know in 3 years they're going to the pros. Those are the ones that are, I'm not talking about back-end guys that are happy to get a couple $1,000s from a car dealership. I'm all for that, but it's a little bit different. So again, this day 2018, Ohio State beating TCU. Dwayne Haskins threw a couple of touchdowns. J.K. Dobbins had a $121 on the ground. How about your receivers? Can I tell you the Ohio State receivers, and this isn't meant to be a shot, but you look at the Ohio State receivers that they have had and have right now. This day 2018 was K.J. Hill, Austin Mack, Paris Campbell, Johnny Dixon, and Terry McLaurin. Terry's good. Paris Campbell's in the NFL. Not quite a Mecca Buka, Julian Fleming, Marvin Harrison, and then when you add in Olave, Wilson, and all the other guys they've had, it's a little bit different now for the Ohio State wide receiving room. This day, 2017, because we did it yesterday, the 22-game win streak for the Tribe, it lost. It ended today. Not lost, but they lost the streak. They fell 4-3 to Kansas City. This day, 2013, the Browns fell to the Ravens 14-6. You would think it's not that bad, but oh, wait. Brandon Whedon was sacked 5 times in that game. He eventually had to leave that game, and the Browns fell 14-6 to the Ravens this day, 2014. Let me pull it up here. What did I say? 2013. I was in 2014. Sorry, I want to pull up the box score for you real quick. So we fall 14-6. Trent Richardson had 58 yards on the ground. And your leading receiver was Jordan Cameron. There you go. Devon Bess in that box score as well. This day, 2013, Nick Swisher homered from both sides of the plate. The Indians got a 7-1 win of the White Sox. That was the 13th time in Swisher's career that he had a home run from each side of the plate. At that time, Brian, he tied who for the most all-time? It's a tough one.
Most all time
to hit a home run on the right from both sides. So switch hitter.
Oh, good. That is a tough one. Can you give me AL or NL?
I know this guy more from the AL teams.
From the AL.
From the AL teams. And ironically, so here's your funny part of it. They tied it at 13. This guy that he tied actually then went on to hit one more and has the record with 14.
I don't know, Matt.
Yankees and the Rangers are the two teams that I think of for this player.
Yankees and the Rangers.
Mark Teixeira.
Wow.
Mark Teixeira.
That's a name I
holds that
haven't
record.
thought of.
I've not
in
thought
quite
about.
some
Isn't he
time.
on? I think he's broadcasting somewhere. I don't know. But anyway, Mark Teixeira holds the MLB record with 14 games of a home run from each side of the plate. This day, 1978, the GOAT, Muhammad Ali, beat Leon Spinks to win the World Heavyweight Championship for the third time and became the first person ever to win the World Heavyweight Championship 3 times. This day, 1973, Archie Griffin began his NCAA record streak of 31 straight games of 100-plus rushing yards. Probably won't be touched because guys don't play 31 games in college anymore. I mean, especially 100 yards a game is pretty impressive. Very happy birthday goes out to Gaylord Perry, Pete Carroll, my favorite player growing up, Dan Marino. I was a big Dan Marino fan because of Ace Ventura. Ernest Biner, oh great, EB. Dennis Schroeder, Terry McLaurin, aforementioned on the show here with Time Hop. William Howard Taft, former president. Prince Harry, Oliver Stone, Tom Hardy, and Tommy Lee Jones, all celebrating birthdays today. Pretty good list there. Today's National Double Cheeseburger Day. What's your favorite burger in town?
That's a great question.
Shout out to Bearden's in Lakewood. They do the steak burgers.
Ooh, yeah.
I messed around with a double on that.
In Cincinnati, Ford's Garage.
Okay.
Delicious.
Good burger.
Anybody in Cincinnati listening to that?
There you go. All right, one television show for you today that debuted this day, 1977. An iconic theme. And I wish we could play themes, and we can't. It's just against the rules. But I loved the intro to this show.
Okay.
And if I just said Officer Poncherella. Ponch.
Wow.
John Baker and Ponch.
John Baker and Ponch. Might get me here, Matt.
So they made a crappy movie out of this a couple of years ago with Dax Shepard and Michael Pena. They brought it back. It was a TV show originally, and they brought it back for a movie. I've seen
Chips?
Chips is correct. Well done. I'll give you the assist on that.
Yeah. I'll take it.
California
I'll take
Highway
it.
Patrol. I'll give you the assist there. TV show, great. That movie sucked. And I felt so bad because, I loved the TV show, but the movie sucked. It was so bad. Yes, Chips premiered this day, 1977. Great stuff with Time Hop. I always love doing it here on the show, especially on a Friday. Great stuff this week. Really appreciate the support. We had a great show today. We had a lot of people join us. And Monday. Ted Ginn's going to join us. He was going to be here today. He has, to be frank, and I love our show. More important things, he's down in Florida as Glenville's taking on the IMG Academy. I think that streams somewhere tonight. I believe it does. Hang on. Glenville, IMG. I think there's a stream somewhere if you Google it. Yeah, I mean, IMG Academy has their own live stream, so we'll check it out. That's gonna be a fun game to watch. I know across Northeast Ohio, a lot of fun high school games tonight, but that's gonna be good. So Ted is gonna join us on Monday to get ready for Monday Night Football. Don't forget too that Chico's gonna be pushed back on Monday. He's normally 12 to 2. He's gonna do a little afternoon pre-game type thing for Monday Night Football. So that'll be coming up on Monday, and then also your chance to come watch the game with Josh Cribbs. We're actually getting set up for it right now. Dave's in here. We're getting it all set up. Dave, can I ask, do they get a guest? Is it 10 tickets and plus one, or just 10 and you're in?
5 get to come with a guest.
All right, there it is. So even less than that. So 5, that's it. Free parking and food. Food and Josh Cribbs.
Josh Cribbs.
I mean, what could make it better? Nothing is the answer. And you get to sit here and bet. How about this? Can I roll you this for a second? You go sign up for Tipico right now, Big Play 150. You win your way in. You sit at our pop-up sports book out there, basically is what I'm calling it, because you could just bet on your phone. You get free bets, you get free food, you get free parking, and you get free Josh Cribbs. And football. Can the bold, beautiful Browns guys be there too? No, I'm just kidding. So how you do it? Go to Big Play on Twitter. You got to repost the post that we have up there. Follow Tipico and post a bet slip, and you can get your chance in to come join us on Monday. So it's 5 people plus a guest. So it's 5 tickets. to come see us Monday night to watch the game with Josh Cribbs. That's going to be super awesome. We'll be back Monday morning, our normal time from 9 to 11. So we got a lot of stuff geared up. We'll give you another announcement, too, about our tailgate coming up because our tailgate is going to come back for the home game next weekend against the Titans. And it'll be awesome. I'm super excited for the weekend, folks. We really appreciate everything. Ohio State, man. That line moved. We had Sonny. I like Ohio State a lot. We'll be watching it on Colorado coming up. That also seems like a free one, too. Like, that seems like Colorado is just really upset. And I think they're going to go out there and make a statement. What did I say was Sonny? It's also, we gotta not forget, that's a 10 o'clock kick tomorrow night. So we got all day to get ready for football. And then you've got Colorado minus 23.5. You know what? I'm doing it right now. Tipico. What do you like on that? A little tenner? A little 10 action? Bet placed.
Also, want to give a quick shout out on Tipico. You know what I'm betting? I'm betting Cincinnati to cover against Miami of Ohio. And fun fact, that is the oldest non-conference rivalry in college football history.
Nice little thing there. Go Bearcats. My wife's cousin is a junior at the University of Cincinnati. So I know Alex will be pretty happy to hear that. He sends me his winning Cincinnati bets every weekend. Because he just hammers the Bearcats and they get it done. Great stuff. Chico's normal today, though. He's 12-2, so he'll be gearing up, getting ready to go for the weekend of college pros. We got you covered. We appreciate everybody joining us here on Big Play. Again, follow the show at Matt Fontana Show. Our live stream is usually up on I have people ask me, too. You can watch it on just Twitter. You can go to YouTube. Don't forget about the iHeart app. We're really starting to pick up some real good steam here with the iHeart app. So all you got to do is go to iHeartRadio, download the app, and then just search Big Play. Also, I think, did we ever get it figured out about the Big Play on the Alexa thing or something? Like, we couldn't say big. Well, we'll get it figured out. Just search on the iHeart app for Big Play. You can find us and the replays of all of our shows throughout the day. So catch us there. Drop us a follow at Matt Fontana Show on Twitter. And again, we really appreciate all the support. Enjoy the weekend. Go Bucks. Go Buffs. Sunday slate's going to be fun just because we get to just sit back and watch and enjoy it, and we'll do just that. And we'll talk to everybody on Monday for a Monday night football preview. I will allow you morning beers on Monday. We can't do it, but I'm allowed for you on Monday. We'll talk to you then. For Ryan, I am Matt Fontana. Appreciate everybody joining us. Have a fantastic weekend, and as always, take it easy.